So we're here with Ron Cornelius. He's, what's your official title, Ron?
Oh, I'm Mini.
Chief Cook and Bottle Washer.
Yeah, the old guy at McIntosh. Hey, Adrian, well, good to see you.
Thank you, Ron.
Welcome to our room here at RMAF 2019 at the new Gaylord Hotel. And we've got a number of pretty recent or brand new models on display. This is our C53 preamp, which was, I think we've been shipping this for about 2 or 3 months now. Full featured with the new DAC module that can be removed, and this is the high level, what we call the DA2 DAC module in it. So moving coil, moving magnet, bazillion inputs, really a dream preamp for a lot of people with a complex system. Next to that, brand new, we have the MA352, which is a brand new integrated amp from us. It's a bigger version built on the kind of the styling of the MA252, which was such a hit about a year ago, but we've added more power, more features, of course. It's a bigger size. It's the same width as our normal components, and you can have a whole bunch of adjustments, such as balance, equalizer on off, stereo mono. We've got 2 outputs, one for the amp in here, a second output where you could hook up a second power amplifier. All the inputs in this can be trimmed up or down, and this has more inputs than the 252 does because we've got more panel space in the back. Display brightness can be adjusted, and auto off is where the display will turn off after I think 30 or 40 seconds. Every time you touch a control, it'll come back on. We have the ability to do the meter lights on or off, like that. Tube lights on or off. You can have it your way. It's kind of like Burger King. Display brightness up or down, and really nice.
Harvey's.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, well, it is Hardee's now. So this guy is 200 watts into 8 ohms, 350 into 4 per channel, and that is shipping now. It's kind of nice.
So the output is solid state, the input's tubes.
Correct.
Is the output Class AB or?
All our amps are Class AB. They're all the same output stage. The main difference would be ours is direct coupled, like this is, or does it have autoformers, our more expensive amps. Or if you had an integrated amp that was 200 watts with an autoformer, it would be 200 watts into 2 ohms, 8 ohms, and 4 ohms. It wouldn't change with impedance. An amp that's direct coupled really doesn't want to see 2 ohms. That's not a good idea for it. I mean, you could build it to see 2 ohms, but then it'd be very low power at 8 ohms, like our competitors are. So this will find a lot of fans. We also have the high drive headphone circuit in it, so it's got a lot of juice.
Great. So
over here we have the MTI 100. That is our all-in-one system, and that's hooked up to our XR50 loudspeakers. So this has the digital amp in it. It's got the preamp. It's got the Bluetooth. It's a complete system. It comes with a turntable, tone arm, one of the new Sumiko cartridges. We've got 2 dual triodes in here. One of them is for the preamp, and the other one is for the phono section. So everything in McIntosh in kind of one package for somebody that needs a high performance compact system. We rate this 40 into 8, 80 into 4. And it seems to punch above that. It plays speakers really, really well and really, really loud. People keep asking me, are these speakers powered? No, the logos light up on our speakers with our 12 volt power control from the MTI 100.
yeah, we've got that. That's a great great all-in-one package.
Over here we've got the big system, which is kind of the feature of the show. This is our 70th anniversary set, made up of the MC2152. This is the most powerful stereo preamp we've ever made. It's got the highest single noise of any tube amp we've made. So it's big. Beefy transformers, beautiful chassis. This is extruded aluminum pieces, so they're all machined, they bolt together. And then we have a bottom cover, and we skin that with carbon fiber. It's a little different look. And whenever McIntosh changes the styling or brings out something that's unique looking, some people freak out, but a lot of customers around the world find this just to be right in appearance. The lights on this, the tube illumination we've been doing for a while, it can be off, or it can be green, or it can be blue. On these amps are heavily monitored as far as operating voltages, and this is all for safety certification. unlike the two power amps we built for the last 20 years, where we'll use a transistor to increase a signal-to-noise ratio or flip the phase on a balance connector, something like that. This is pure tube. So there's no transistors anywhere in the signal path. And this is the first amp we've done that way in quite a while. That said, did we give up signal-to-noise? No, it's got the highest signal-to-noise ratio.
Wow.
Maybe our 2301, the big tube monoblock, would be slightly better because it's fully balanced, but those tubes. So you turn it on, and it's going to do a sequence here where the voltages are swinging, stabilizing in the amplifiers. As it goes between the tubes, it's looking at that, and then I'll move on to the next tube. And then voila, you're ready to play.
Ron, talk about the way that your small input tubes change its colors when it senses that there's a fault in the output tube.
So we have two amplifiers here. So this is the output tubes for the right channel, and these are the input tubes and the driver tubes. Same thing for this. So you can really look at it as two packages. If a tube would fail or short out or do something that could possibly damage the amplifier, or if the consumer shorted the speaker wires, the amplifier is going to turn off. And it's going to, if we shorted the speaker wires in the right channel, it's going to show a fault in this channel. So the first thing I would do is these tubes will turn red when you turn it on, and the amp will not turn on. That's an indication of where the fault is. It's in this channel. So I wouldn't say a tube's necessarily bad before I check the wiring. First thing I do is probably disconnect the speaker wires, turn it back on if it went to a green condition and the amplifier turned on, possibly something's failed inside the loudspeaker. If I hook the loudspeaker back up and then it goes red again. But what if all that checks out okay? Then I'd carefully examine the tubes, I'd let them cool off, and I would have one KT88, one 12AT7, and one 12AX7, and I would swap them with the tube that's in here one at a time and turn the amp on. When the amp turns on and goes green and operates correctly, the last tube you changed is the bad tube. Usually in an output tube, you'll see something. It'll look slightly different. It'll be a slightly different temperature. So when the amp's on, if you've got an intermittent where it goes red on you, I'd turn the amp on for 5 minutes and I'd just feel the temperature of the tubes. If one's cold or super hot, that's the bad tube. And that's kind of the way it works. You don't have to pull the amplifier in. It's 125 pounds. So doing that swap, and people say, well, why doesn't it come with a backup tube? So you should probably have some spares. You will need them. Tubes are like brake shoes on your car. They are consumable as you drive. Tubes consume as you use the amplifier. You must be prepared someday to change those tubes.
Great.
And if that's not your thing, buy transistors. This is the Magic C70 preamp, all vacuum tube, no digital in it, but it's full function. It's the best single box tube preamp we've probably ever made in the area of measurements. And it's very clean. We didn't want to put a display on this, so we had to figure out how to do the controls. So your volume goes up and down, right? And then I push it and it becomes the balance control.
It's beautiful.
We tell you what the tubes do here, each section. So we have 2 for the preamp. Each of these are dual triodes. That's 4 actual circuits, 2 for the moving coil and 2 for the moving magnet.
Circuit-wise, is it somewhat similar to the existing C2600 and now the new C2700?
I would say yes, but it's its own unique. Really, this replaced the C22, the third version of that. The C22, of course, didn't have the split chassis design where I could isolate the power transformer like we use on our modern gear, where we have 2 boxes on one chassis. So that gives you advantages. The engineer spent a lot of time on this. He's pretty proud of it. So we show the same kind of single noise numbers as the 2600 or the 2700 would.
Okay.
The 2700 actually in this would be better than the 2600 on phono. Those are measuring higher.
Cool.
Not that it was bad before, but those have been upped.
Sure.
So the XRT 1.1Ks are the speakers we're using. Our sources, we're using a transport with CDs in it for people who want to play CDs. We're using a D1100 just as a DAC, and that goes analog out into the C70. That goes to this power amp, and then out to the speakers. So it's kind of a neat system.
So let's talk about the speakers.
These are pretty interesting. This is our smaller line array, not a small speaker. And line arrays use all these tweeters and mid-ranges are exactly the same timing. And as you back up from the speaker, the whole sound gels together, and the line array will shoot the sound straight through the room. It won't go up, it won't go down, so it won't hit the ceiling or the floor. And it's very low distortion because no speaker's doing much. So these are known to handle a lot of power. This is a ported speaker, and we use 4 6.5-inch long throw woofers, and then we've got 2 very narrow band 6.5-inch mid-range here that just transition from the woofer into, we get to these pretty low. I think we're into those around 300 cycles. I'd have to check on that. So. The speaker is, you could tri-wire it. This is the way it comes. I'm just using 1 amplifier. And the finish on these is a perfect piano black without ripples. This is the same quality of finish you'd have on a grand piano. These cabinets are done in Italy because we were after that quality to give that appearance.
Stunning.
They can handle a 600 or 1200 watt amp. I mean, you know, without going crazy nuts on it. But even this amplifier at 150 watts will power them to probably 90% of their volume.
Yes, I heard just now.
Yeah. Over here is another active system. This is our RS200, which is both a sound bar and a way to play all your digital devices, especially people like to stream into this off their cell phone. This has got a variety of speakers. Uses the same speakers like we have in the first system we looked at. The same meter, tweeter and mid-range drivers that are in this guy here, XR100s or the XR50s. So gives a really good sound. You can use it as a sound bar. Mike's got one over here in his bedroom. He hooked up to his TV. He was telling me how much he's enjoying it as a sound bar. This is our next system up. We brought this just to show